Man, oh man. When's the last time I made a video? Feels like a long time. But I got a good reason this time. I actually got something really interesting a couple weeks ago, and I thought I'd share it for you guys. It's a controller. It's not just any controller. It's a special Mortal Kombat PlayStation 2 controller. Sponsored by Midway. Features the Mortal Kombat logo. On the back, it shows that there's apparently a limited edition. There's 20,000 of these made, and I have the 16,333rd one, which makes it nothing special, really. And it has, I believe that's Baraka. I'm not 100% familiar with my Mortal Kombat. I've played a few of the games, but not know all the characters. There's like 1,000 of them. I think he's impaling the Shredder. No, wait, I think that's Sub-Zero. I'm sorry, it looked like the Shredder. And I think he split him in half. Obligatory Mortal Kombat logo. I've already mentioned that. So, for comparison purposes, here's an actual PS2 DualShock. The comparisons are pretty obvious when you look at them. First of all, the wing grips on these are a little bit better than the PS2s. I've always hated the PS2 grips. They just don't feel well in my hands, whereas the Mortal Kombat controller feels very good in my hands, almost up to par with probably the Xbox controller. The sticks are flat on the Mortal Kombat controller, while the regular PS2 DualShock has more, I believe, concave sticks. D-pad's a little bit different. It's typical PlayStation, don't have a center, but have weird buttons, whereas this is more of a notch. And the buttons are raised a little bit more than the PS2 controller, which means it probably doesn't have the analog support that I think, like, what, 2 games support? I think it was Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. That was it. Clickable sticks, naturally. Select, start, analog, which is coincidentally lights up red when you play in-game. That's kind of cool. And the triggers have a little bit more throw than they do on the PS2 DualShock, which means they probably don't have the analog support there either. But the L2 and R2 are flat as opposed to the more rounded ones of the PS2 controller, and they get prone to sticking occasionally. So, that's enough of that comparison. Now, why am I showing you this? I mean, it's a controller that, you know, honestly you can get for a few bucks on the internet. There's an actual tale to this, because I bought this at a Goodwill for $3 about a couple weeks ago. I have a friend of mine who likes Mortal Kombat. Thought it would just be an interesting little curiosity. When I got this thing, despite all the amounts of scuff and damage that you can probably see, this thing has clearly had been used. When I got it, the D-pad was prone to sticking, and the same with the L1 and L2 here. I guess somebody had spilled Coke on it or something. So, I decided to take matters into my own hands and try to clean it. Now, like the DualShock, these things have normal Phillips head screws, so if you're a person like me and have one of those little portable screwdrivers, which works as a very small bit, you could open this up. So I did. I opened it up, and I had cleaned out the pieces using some rubbing alcohol, and I put the thing back together, and suddenly I had a problem where I needed to mash on the button in order for it to acknowledge me pressing it. So clearly I messed up the placement of the membrane, or the whatever the thing inside it is that recognizes where the button is being pressed. Took it apart a couple of times, put it back together, tried to make sure everything was all in one piece, and then I did, unfortunately, the tragedy, what happens when you do stuff like this. I stripped a screw. Now, if you can kind of see it, not really, but there's a hole there where a screw used to be. I had stripped the screw, which is bad. That meant I couldn't get this thing apart or together. It was stuck together, but I could not get this thing apart, rather. Basically, I had to get into it with a drill press, which is why the hole is slightly larger than the other one. But eventually I resolved the solution I had. All the buttons work fine. I mean, they may stick once or twice, but I guess that's just, I'm assuming that's how this is designed. It can't be helped. Or maybe there is some stickiness I missed. Whatever the case may be, it functions. I played a game or two on it. It works fine. I don't know if you could do combos with this sucker in Mortal Kombat, but it's pretty cool. And I'm a sucker for goofy looking controllers, and look on the bright side, if I had to give this to a friend, at least it's better than giving him the shitty Mad Catz GameStop controller that was small and the sticks were busted and half the buttons didn't work. Come on, we all had those this happen to us at least once. And I found out that not only is there a version of this with Baraka, there was also a version of this with Scorpion. And I really, really wish that this was Scorpion, because, honestly, he's the only character in Mortal Kombat that matters. Okay, basically all the Mortal Kombat 1 roster, and maybe some of Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 were the ones that matter, and everything after that, who cares? But apparently these go on eBay from anywhere from about $5 to $10 for just a loose controller, to $20 to $30 for it complete in box. And judging by the 2004 copyright date, I'm going to hazard a guess this was made as a tie-in for Mortal Kombat Deception. I thought Deadly Alliance, but that came earlier. But yeah, got a little interesting little piece for $3. And now, oh, by the way, not only did it have like the stickiness, but apparently when somebody had tried to use this controller, they had broke off a piece of their PS2 in the process of trying to get it off of the controller plug, I guess in this case. I think it's just the normal PS2 one. Yeah, let's get the right one, you dummy. There we go. This looks like the right one. Someone had accidentally had this slipped, and I actually had to get these pulled out with pliers so that they could plug in and function. So clearly, this thing went through hell. And it's now got a nice, friendly new home. Now, I don't collect controllers. Honestly, I'm fine usually with 1 or 2 controllers that work. But this was a nice curiosity for $3. Worth it. I mean, there are some strange controllers I've gotten over the years, such as this thing. I think they call it a Gamester. Kind of see it there. Not to be confused with the internet personality. But yeah, I think I'll talk about this one some other time once I know how the fuck it works. But enough about that. Back to Mortal Kombat. Let's have Baraka spiking things for good measure. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope I'll do more of these in the future. Or just random junk I have. Well then, sayonara.